Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. This is live stream 1259. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, mainly focused on tabletop role-playing games. And I will usually provide you with a first look at a role-playing game release, which is what we're doing tonight. That's right. We're going to be diving on in and taking a look at Traveler Highguard Update 2022 from Mongoose Publishing. This is the Starship Supplement. Well, I should say the major Starship Supplement for the Traveler role-playing game. We're going to dive on in. We are going to take a first look tonight. I know it's been out for a while, but I enjoy, taking a look at stuff that I haven't had an opportunity to check out. And I happen to be a big fan of the Traveler role-playing game. And I go way back, all the way to that little black box, little 3 black books. Yeah. Early 1980s, probably about 81 is when I picked that up. 82 at the latest. Pretty wild. Of course, when you're out watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. But if you have been a subscriber for at least 60 minutes and you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Kevin King. Still have to translate some of these, oddball changes to people's nicknames that YouTube's pulling. I am not pleased with YouTube at the moment. We'll talk a little bit about that after the news. Semper Buffo is with us, Captain Infinity Time Travel Police, as well as Kathy Evans, Kevin R. Smith, Mike is with us, Coco B has arrived, J-Man, and I think I've said hello to everybody, except the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D might be lurking in the shadows as one of our chat moderators. Never know. Watch out. You might see some light glinting off the glittery banhammer. That's the giveaway. So howdy, everybody. Good to see you all once again. We got a big show ahead of us. So why not dive on into the news to kick things off? Because the latest issue of the old school focused Gary's Appendix is up for crowdfunding for RPG Ramblings. Here's the scoop. Gary's Appendix issue 9 goes big with a giant theme. Detailed ecologies of all 6 giant kind, plus 10 pounds of monstrous articles in a 5-pound bag. Well, it's better than 10 pounds of something else in a 5-pound bag. This issue includes 7 expanded creatures as well as 6 original articles. Each issue of Gary's Appendix contains a collection of articles written for the OSR by a variety of authors. In addition, Jeff Jones contributes an expanded entry for a collection of monsters from the Old School Essentials collection. Jeff also explores ways to turn mundane creatures into memorable encounters by considering the lore, mythology, and ecology. This issue includes the elephant, the cloud giant, fire giant, frost giant, hill giant, stone giant, and storm giant. Which one of those just doesn't seem to fit? The 6 articles are workshops for making constructs, finding enormous magic items, world building with giants, brutish belongings, looting a giant, giants playing a big part in your campaign, no pun intended on that, I'm sure. And then lastly, there is the ordning, an ordain hierarchy, which I think delves into the deities of the giants. This Kickstarter project is already fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the zine with the PDF for a $19 pledge, or just score the PDF alone for a $5 pledge through December 11th. Expected fulfillment is March 2026 for the PDF. The physical zine will follow the following month in April. Very nice. You may recall quite a ways back, I shared a review video of the first 3 issues of Gary's Appendix. I thought they were very nicely done, although there was a series of articles. Well, it was a series that was across the 3 issues that I thought kind of felt a little bit like filler, but the rest really nicely done, especially the bestiary portions of each issue. Very, very well done. All right, let's see. Kevin R. Smith has popped on in. I think I said hello to Kevin R. Smith earlier, but just in case, I'll double dip and say hello again. On to our next news piece. Goodman Games and Humble Bundle have teamed for the last call for Lankhmar. I've got the deets on the deal. Welcome to Lankhmar. Gather your party and take a trip to a city full of adventure and surprise with this bundle of Lankhmar tabletop role-playing game resources from Dungeon Crawl Classics. Get the entire Lankhmar saga and 15 distinct adventures set within the legendary city, including fan favorites like the greatest thieves in Lankhmar, gang lords of Lankhmar, blasphemy and larceny in, you want to take a guess? Lankhmar, and more. Bring your story to life with the Lankhmar printed box set and adventure bundle, which features printed maps, the compendium of secret knowledge, and more new material with all the twists and turns needed to satisfy newcomers and veteran players alike. It's kind of strange that they're talking about the printed box set and adventure bundle because that's not part of this. Okay, the box set is, but it's not a printed edition of the box set. It's PDFs. As far as I could tell, I don't know. Grab everything you need for your next adventure at the price of your choice. All purchases support the No Kid Hungry campaign from nonprofit Share Our Strength. You can jump aboard for as little as $1. I'd buy that for $1. Go all in. Score the entire collection, 26 items in total. One of those being the PDF for the box set, which is actually multiple books, for a minimum donation of, get ready for it, $40. That is it. You can get the entire run of Dungeon Crawl Classics, Lankhmar adventures, and supplements, all told $40. These savings will run through December 4th, and I will tell you, this is going to be your last opportunity to get your hands on these PDFs because Goodman Games did not renew. Either they didn't renew it or the estate of Fritz Leiber did not renew the license that they had. I believe it was a 10-year license and it ran out in October. So as far as I understand, I do not think, well, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Like, I don't believe that Goodman Games can sell physical copies of this right now. Maybe they've got till the end of the year. Maybe they've got till December 4th. I don't know. But usually when a license runs out, it's like, that's like, bang, no more physical sales. But regardless, and I've heard really good things about the Lankhmar series from Dungeon Crawl Classics. Sadly enough, I never had an opportunity to dive on into it myself, which kind of sucks because I am a huge Fofford and Grey Mouser fan. Like me, my Fritz Leiber. All right. You want to save some more money? Well, Onyx Path Publishing has joined forces with Bundle of Holding for a Monarchies of Mao bundle. I've got the skinny on the savings. Adventurer. This Monarchies of Mao bundle presents. Take a stab. Come on, stab in the dark. What is it? What is it? Of course, it's Monarchies of Mao. I know, I'll quit doing that. The tabletop science fantasy role-playing game of feline and rodent adventure compatible with Pugmire. Thousands of years after the ages of man, dogs and cats have inherited the world. Changed, uplifted to use tools and language, the animal nations are rediscovering the world they inherited. Some seek the leftover technology of humanity, which they believe to be magic. Others envision an ideal civilization based on ancient, fragmentary lore. The world is dangerous and mysterious, but courageous dogs and clever cats persevere. Published by Onyx Path Publishing in cooperation with designer Eddie Webb at Pug Steady, the standalone Monarchies of Mao uses the same streamlined D20 system-based rules. Roll a 20-sided die, add your modifiers versus a target number, which you've seen in Pugmire as well as any other D20 role-playing game. You also have the companion campaign sourcebook, Squeaks from the Deep, which lets you play psychic mice, rats, and rabbits in the underneath. In search of lost science, these rodents wander immense tunnel labyrinths, contending with twisted monsters, the cult of Labotor, and even sapient weapons of the ancient past. From dark alley cat plottings to digs that go too deep, the Mao game line dangles many shiny campaign options before your eyes. This all-new offer gives you everything you need to slink haughtily into a world of feline fantasy. For just $14.95, you'll get all 12 titles in the Cat and Mouse collection as a retail value of $66 as DRM-free ebooks, PDFs, obviously, including the complete Monarchies of Mao core rulebook, plus its guide screen and virtual tabletop assets, the Squeaks in the Deep Chronicle sourcebook and its Leopardine Squeaks Companion, plus the Connection Lost Jumpstart Squeaks guide screen and Squeaks virtual tabletop assets, the Roll of Good Dogs and Excellent Cats, a menagerie of sample characters, and the Scenario Collection Adventures for Curious Cats. These savings will run through November 24th. You know, Monarchies of Mao is not that old. At least this edition isn't. It wasn't all that long ago. This crowdfunded probably within the last 2 years. Kind of surprised to see it up on Bundle of Holding. I don't know. So Kevin R. Smith says, Humble Bundle says they have the physical book, or it should be a box set, at the highest price point. Wow, I missed that. You know, I got to be honest, I never actually take a look at the highest tier when it comes to Humble Bundle. If you're familiar with Humble Bundle, you will find that usually there'll be like a default donation that comes up when you bring up a page. And interestingly enough, if you click on the donation just below it in, amount, right? It's usually to the left. It's the same exact offer same exact thing. And it's kind of like, yeah, okay. That's why I always tell you, oh, for a minimum of whatever, that's the true minimum. So Kevin R. Smith says it's the box set and a bunch of print adventures. I might be popping up on board there. I'll have to check to see what the shipping comes out to. Yeah. Curiouser and curiouser. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Anyway, back to Monarchies of Mao. Once again, these savings run through November 24th. This is a pretty short bundle of holding. I know it launched a few days ago, but not that long ago. This is not a 3-week offer by any stretch. Maybe it's 10 days at most. All right, on to our next news piece. Now, we already looked at Alien, the role-playing game, Evolved Edition core rules on last night's live stream. Well, Alien, the role-playing game, Evolved Edition Rapture Protocol has also landed in stores. And here's the latest from Free League Publishing. Behold, I will make you a terror to yourself and to all your friends. Jeremiah chapter 20, verse 4. Rapture Protocol is a complete cinematic adventure for Alien, the role-playing game, Evolved Edition. It is a standalone adventure, but also serves as the first installment of the Jeremiah Saga trilogy. The adventure is designed for 3 to 5 players plus the game mother and returns to the roots of the Alien franchise, featuring the crew of a small star freighter on a resupply run to the remote Jeremiah 6 industrial colony, soon embroiled in a deadly conflict. This box set contains the main Rapture Protocol scenario book, a double-sided map featuring the star freighter USS Fidanza. USS Tony Danza, what? USS Fidanza on one side and the Jeremiah 6 mining base on the other. 5 pre-generated characters to choose from, playing cards for personal agendas and NPCs, tokens for characters and creatures, player maps and handouts as well. This box set with PDFs carries an MSRP of $39.99. Remember, usually you have to order from the publisher to get that free PDF. I don't think Free League Publishing tosses the DriveThruRPG code in the box or anything like that. Although I will point out, some publishers do send reviewers different copies of stuff that goes on sale. I have seen that in the past. I have seen where reviewers didn't get like a little coupon and then somebody buys it and they tell me, oh yeah, there was a coupon for the PDF. I'm like, oh, okay. All righty. Regardless, carries an MSRP of $39.99. If you want to grab just the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. And I have Rapture Protocol right here in my grimy, sweaty hands. They're actually not grimy or sweaty. Got it right here. We're going to talk about this also after the news real quick. Let's see. We've got a few more people who've popped on into chat. Let's see who we have got. Looks like Sean Mayer is with us. Timpling Tube. I believe this might be a first-time visit in chat for them. Or it might be one of our regulars, and that's just the strange nickname that YouTube is assigning them. And No Limelight Productions is joining us once again. So welcome aboard. Let's move on to our final news piece, because now available in print and PDF from Trollord Games is the Castles and Crusades Codex Infernum. Here's what I know. Creatures of the infernal planes are unadulterated evil. Evil defines them. They're not capable of good or acts of kindness or mercy. They have no conception of sacrifice, courage, joy, or any emotion. They do not feel humiliation or understand it. If made to crawl in the mud and play the part of a cowed beast, they do so. They have no ability to feel for others, no empathy for the plight of sorrow. They are wretched creatures, pathetic in their self-absorbed madness of being. They are evil, pure, and simple. So these are rules for you to play as them. No, I'm joking. Take out the role as a player character. But evil carries many faces, and demons and devils are as different as night and day. Evil defines them all, but the nature of that evil sets them apart. This is the Codex Infernum, a catalog of hundreds of demons and devils. Within these pages, you'll find everything you need to know about arch, lesser, greater, and minor devils. With that comes all you'll need to know about the demon lords and the major, lesser, and minor demons. Hundreds of entries, each depicted in glorious color. I wonder, are we going to actually get to see a picture of every entry? Interesting. The infernal plains await the chorus of evil. It has arrived. This 145-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $29.99. You can also grab the PDF for $19.99. If you want to get the combo, you can do so. Right now, this is not available at DriveThruRPG as of yet. I assume probably about a week or so. Troll Games usually takes a little bit before they pop their PDFs over on DriveThruRPG. But if you want to grab both, you can do so from Troll Games. It is $39.99. All righty. So that is the tabletop role-playing game news for this evening. Lots of cool stuff. Lots of cool stuff. I'm telling you right now, I am, once the show is over, I'm going to go over to Humble Bundle. I'm taking a peek. Because I would certainly like to have that Lankmar box set in my collection. Yes. Even though I probably won't ever run it. But I'll have to find out. I'll have to take a look, see what that's running. Anyway. So once again, that's it for the news tonight. Of course, I did mention DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale, and all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, be sure to give it a quick thumbs up. And if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you got a couple other ways that you can help support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Lovely. Or become a monthly member of our Patreon, and you will find links in the show notes about both of those. And there's also a link to our DriveThruRPG affiliate. So, got that too. Oh, yes. Plenty there. Plenty there. All right. So let's see. Kevin R. Smith says also, if anybody likes Lankmar, but they don't have the DCC rules, you can get the core rulebook in PDF at the $12 and $40 levels. Kevin R. Smith is asking, what am I drinking now? Because they don't make Diet Right anymore. Weirdly enough, I have stumbled across Diet Right a few times in the last, okay, hang on. Rewind that. A couple of times in the past 2-3 months. Did not buy it because it was like $2.99, and I'm like, I'm not paying $2.99 for any 2-liter of soda. So it is the Sam's Club Zero Sugar. It's the closest to Diet Right. Although there is caffeine and there is some sodium, but it's less than most other like diet drinks out there. So yes, that is what I'm drinking. Kevin King says that they ran some Dungeon Crawl Classics Lankmar. It was a lot of fun. Very nice. I like Dungeon Crawl Classics. I think it's... So let's talk about a few things. Well, I'll tackle a little DCC and other things in just a second. First off, so I was talking about Rapture Protocol. I already said that we're going to... Oh, jeez, this box is so heavy to just try to deadlift it right off the side of the table here. I already said we're going to take a look at the Gensicon Adventure Bundle from GUI Cube. So I'm going to open this up to a vote. Which would you rather see on tomorrow's show? The Adventure Collection, which this, so you know, now it's not so heavy. But when you're just picking it up from like down there. So GUI Cube or Rapture Protocol. Plus, I will also toss in the Alien miniatures with that. So vote, take a moment. You can vote. And then if you want to check out Alien, I will do a live first look at the Adventure Collection on next Tuesday's show. If you vote for GUI Cube, which I'm all for that too, but if you vote for GUI Cube, then I will actually shoot a standalone first look video for Alien Rapture Protocol. All right, so far we got 2 votes for Alien, 1 vote for GUI Cube. All right. Well, like I said, I'll give you a few moments to get those votes in. All right, other thing I wanted to mention. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. So I had commented to, in the, what do they call it now? Posts. It used to be community. Now it's just called posts. One of these days, they're just going to change it to what? What do you want? Anyway, I said, it's really weird. It's the Gaming Gang videos aren't getting in front of people. Just not. They're just not getting in front of people. And it's weird because I get the stats and the click-through rates are good. But if they're not getting in front of people, not much I can do, So that's been kind of irritating. Keith Lulu's pointing out, yes, many YouTubers are having issues with that too. Yeah, it's, they're screwing around with the algorithm like always. So it's like, oh, it's, what people are watching a lot of? They're watching people's reactions to other people's videos. Those are hot. Man, that's a bunch of fucking nonsense. I see stuff like that pop up in my shorts and I'm like, really? And I get it. I understand what's going on. They're trying to piggyback off of someone else's video, but it's like, oh boy. Anyway, so now the latest thing is after the stream ends, I take a peek. It's usually within about 15 minutes because I have some nighttime stuff. I take care of the cats and stuff like that and get ready to start getting my dad ready for bed. And I'll take a look and I'll say, oh, views, right? And now I've noticed this week, and in fact, it may have started last week, where last night's show, wrapped up the show, went upstairs. I was getting ready so I could start doing the timestamps, right? So I try to get the timestamps on the video within about a half hour of the stream ending. So I see it says 288 views. So I was like, oh, hey, not too bad. Pretty decent. I mean, we've had way more live views than that, especially when we do like a D&D thing. But anyway, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I run in and took care of a couple of things, came back, and then all of a sudden it was at like 250 views. And then it dropped to 177 views. And then it dropped all the way down to 131 views. And I was like, and I understand now. I mean, I know there are some content creators who hang out and watch the stream. I don't really have a lot of time in my life to invest in trying to figure out what YouTube wants or what shenanigans are up to now. So anyway, I thought I heard something about, well, YouTube's trying to do something now where if somebody watches a video for less than 10 seconds, they don't want to count it as a view. I'm like, okay. Which, I mean, I have no problem with that. But I thought to myself, come on, really? Are you trying to tell me that there were like 157 people who checked out the video and watched it for less than 9 seconds? And this has happened with the last 2-3 live streams. Like I said, I think it started last week. And I was like, what the hell's going on? But yesterday was like the biggest chunk that it took. I mean, it took off more than half of the views. Like I said, if there's people who tune in and they're watching for, 6 seconds, that's fine. That's all right. That doesn't bother me. But you're trying to tell me that 150 some people checked out the stream and left before 10 seconds passed? I don't know about that. Like I said, just kind of weird. And then this past weekend, with a lot of trolls, a lot of comments that I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to fucking delete this. I'm like, I don't need this. And, something else that I noticed, if you are a content creator out there and you get some, half-ass bullshit comment on a video, if you look to see who it's from, I sort of get the impression, because for whatever reason, I get like real asshole comments from people who posted like 4 or 5 videos 12 to 15 years ago. And they have like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 subs, which are probably just their other Gmail accounts that they're subbing to their channel. But I think to myself, is that like a hacked account or something? Because sometimes you get these real jerk off comments and they don't really like make any sense in context to what the video is. Sometimes they do. Sometimes, like somebody had commented, this guy missed his charisma roll. So I went and looked at their channel and I was like, really? They had, once again, another one where it was like, oh, here's a few videos that I made 12 years ago. And it was some like neckbeard clown. And I'm like, really? Hey, I get it. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that. But seriously, that'd be like Alfred E. Newman saying, hey, Jeff, you're a dork. Be like, do you know what a mirror is? Anyway, yeah, it's just been challenging, I guess I would say, the past couple of weeks. Bit of a challenge. Got some companies out there who, they're kind of back to their ways of just ignoring the outlet and stuff like that. I don't know. Mike says the bots are on the march. No Limelight Production says sounds a little fishy, smells, as far as the number of viewers disappearing. Like I said, I don't know. I have no idea. But that had never happened before. And as far as I know, this was something, the 10-second rule was something that's been around for a long time. Other thing pissing me off, when I do the brief intermissions, right? Put those little videos together, I upload them, and then I leave them up. I usually do it in the morning, leave it up all day, see if I get a copyright flag. So last night's was Alien, right? Okay. I not only uploaded the brief intermission, I also uploaded just the standalone trailer. Nothing. All good. No restrictions. Okay, great. I use it. First thing this morning, I see, oh, copyright violation for the Alien trailer. Your video can't be monetized. Monetization is being, I'm like, what are you supposed to do? And then I went and looked, and I'll be damned if the brief intermission and the trailer still sat there showing no copyright restrictions. I was like, and this is going on a ton. And a lot of times, I don't think the claimant actually owns the copyright. But I think what these people do is they throw out tons of stuff that they claim to have copyright on because they know people aren't going to fight them on it because it's just too big of a hassle. How are you going to prove that they don't have the copyright to utilize it without ending up losing every penny of monetization that the video is going to get? So I actually had to cut the trailer for Alien out of last night's show. So there are going to be people commenting about Alien, and people watching the video for the first time are going to be like, well, what are they talking about? There was an alien toy. What the hell? What the hell's going on here? So, yeah. Okay, last thing, and then we're going to move on. Let me know if you're interested in me doing another used game sale. Let me know in the comments. The comments section. As I pointed out last night, I figure I would run it for 4 weeks. First week, first dibs to the Patreon members. Second week, dibs next to our Discord server members. And then the last 2 weeks open to everybody. So floating it out there. Because the thing is, I don't want to go through all the work that's involved and having to take stuff out, taking photos of everything and putting it all together in a list. And then it's like, oh, well, yeah, 3 people. Because, I'd rather give people who watch the channel, who visit the website, an opportunity to get these things. I don't want to go to eBay. I don't want to go like on a secondary market and stuff. I want to put them in the hands of people who, support the channel, support the website. Anyway, like I said, just let me know. Hey, speaking of Patreon, I like to give a shout out to all our Patreon members during the live shows. So big thank you to Gustavo Covalho, Herman Lutman, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, Talzek, Dan Webb, GameCat, Kevin King, Pete Strakulich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, Tier 2 DM, Agile Monk, and The Madman. Kevin King says, she who must be obeyed has cut off his book buying until after Christmas. Hey, is that from the H.R. Haggard book, she must be obeyed. I thought that isn't that what they call her? Could be wrong. I know Kevin is talking about, but still. All right, so we're going to dive in. We're going to take a look at the Traveler Highguard Update 2022 in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. Hopefully no copyright strike after the fact.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Our forefathers ran down wild turkeys, shot them with a blunderbuss, roped them, or tried to catch them with their bare hands. And they were pretty tough turkeys in those days. Today, everyone's entitled to a happy Thanksgiving. And that's what we hope you'll have.
Leaving. I'm going.
Guess there's no point baking Pillsbury's best cookies.
Oh, cookies?
Hot and fresh dough.
You'll never see me again.
So creamy smooth. Ah,
I mean it.
your cookie dough. Oh, you're so chocolatey. Oh,
I miss my plane.
oh, hot and fresh dough.
And now look for my new chocolate chip cookies.
Holidays. During Sears 2-Day Holiday Kickoff, doors open early at 8 a.m. with exciting values and gift ideas throughout the entire store. Something special like this touch control Kenmore microwave for fast cooking, now only $149.99. Or the Hamilton Beach ME food processor, compact, powerful, and versatile. Our lowest price of the year, only $29.99. Hurry, on sale now.
There's more for your life
Opens at 8 a.m.
at Sears.
Thursday from New York, Hawaii, Detroit, and Toronto. Join your favorite CBS stars for the 28th annual All-American Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Jasper and I are happy to announce the JCPenney After Thanksgiving Sale for early Christmas shoppers. All fine jewelry 25 to 50% off. All women's sleepwear and robes 20 to 40% off. All Fox apparel for kids 25% off. These men's crew neck sweaters only $19.99. Big savings at the JCPenney After Thanksgiving Sale. I just told them that.
Smarter than ever, JCPenney.
The NBC thanks.
Yum, yum, this Wilkins instant coffee is delicious.
And it's even better when it's mixed with boiling water.
Yes, George Kennedy and Andrew Stevens. Oh, what a fresh hell ahead of us we've got watching that. Talk about a double dose of dull. Yeah, I had to roll out another Alien knockoff. There was another one. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I almost went with that, but strangely enough, there was quite a lot of nudity in the trailer. I was like, hold on, this isn't like a spoof or anything. This is a straight out, this is a straight out Alien ripoff. And I was like, nah, I don't think I could probably get away with that. So let's see. Then Kono joined us in chat, asking if anyone's stopping by PAX Unplugged this week. I am not hitting it up. Just not. I mean, they always, tell me they'll give me a badge, but I stopped even applying for it because it's like, I know most of the time I can't get there, or I'd be, doing it solo, which doing Gen Con solo is one thing. Doing a convention in a city I don't know anything about. Not exactly. Plus, I will be attending the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo in January. I was talking about that. So stay tuned for that. Keith Lewis said they saw a video about alien ripoffs and knockoffs. It was very interesting. Yeah, like I said, there was one, I was going to share it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like 2 minutes long, and at least 35 seconds of it was just like nudity. And I'm like, I don't have a beef with that. It's just, I don't think that's something I'm going to share on this show. Yes. So tonight we're going to dive on in and take a look at Traveler Highguard Update 2022 from Mongoose Publishing. This 288-page hardcover is available now. It's been out for, about 3 years now. And of course, with PDF, it carries an MSRP of $59.99 if you order from Mongoose Publishing. If you want to grab just the PDF, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $30. Also, should say hello to Mark Hawkswell, who has another one of those oddball codes. So, and Patch Kenham 1 is with us as well. Might be first time visits for Denkono and Patch Kenham 1. Then again, could be regulars and it's just YouTube doing its YouTubing with people's names. I don't know. Chris Lundgren has joined us as well with Buddy and Chris's wife, whose name changes like every time he shows up in chat. Don't know what that's all about. I'm just kidding. All right, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Highguard Update 2022 for the Traveler role-playing game. So, few things to mention. Well, a couple, really, to mention before we dive on in. First of all, my friends over at Mongoose Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this first look with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find inside. All right, let's take a look at the back. Highguard Update 2022 is a major expansion to the Traveler role-playing game with rules for designing, building, and operating spacecraft found throughout the galaxy. From small and nimble fighter craft to the adventure-class ships that travelers fly, from gargantuan mega freighters to military capital ships, this book provides everything the aspiring naval architect needs to populate their universe with ships that ply the space lanes. This book also provides rules for designing space stations and starports, customizing ships, and exotic technologies found in popular science fiction novels and movies that can be incorporated into your universe. There are also advanced rules for sensors, detailed descriptions of starship crew roles, how to conduct violent boarding actions, and detailed guidelines for battles between fighter squadrons and enormous fleet battles. Finally, Highguard Update 2022 presents dozens of ships designed for the charted space universe, including small craft and fighters, traders, gunboats, scout ships, and battleships, ranging from lethal destroyers to colossal battleships, carriers, and dreadnoughts. The revised design system provides a new approach to armor and armaments, making space combat scalable for anything from small skirmishes to devastating clashes between dozens or even hundreds of warships. Yes. All right, let's take a look at the credits page to kick things off. There's a lot of folks work very hard on this, so let's give credit where credit is due. So it looks like we've got our introduction, then we'll move into ship design, weapons and screens, spacecraft options, space stations, customizing ships, the ship's computer, sensors, exotic technology, crew roles, creating deck plans, fighters, fleet battles, boarding actions, and then we will get spaceships of the Third Imperium. It's like that is going to run us about 150 some pages. Nice. All right. Welcome to Highguard Update 2022. This book is a major expansion for Traveler. Is this, I was going to say, is this just repeating the same exact stuff from the back? No, it's not. Highguard presents new approaches to handle spacecraft operations, from engaging in vicious boarding actions to spacecraft security, from employing a range of warheads and missiles to assessing technologies seen in science fiction settings beyond charted space. Your warp drives await. So, some info about the Imperial Navy, which, of course, you can have a career in the Imperial Navy prior to becoming a traveler. So, Chris Lundgren's give me a breakdown on how to pronounce his wife's name. I'll just call her Mrs. Lundgren. Kevin King wonders whether popular games like Alien's role-playing game and Starfinder have boosted Traveler's sales by bringing new science fiction fans in, or if the competition has only harmed them. I will take a shot in the dark, and I will say that neither of those role-playing games has probably put much of a dent in Traveler. Reason being is that Starfinder is a completely different animal. So it is science fantasy. It is heavier into the fantasy part than it is the science fiction. So Traveler tends to attract people who are more interested in hard science fiction, although the reality is Traveler is not necessarily hard science fiction. It is harder science fiction than Starfinder, obviously. And I would say Alien, once again, that is a particular vibe that you're looking for. You're looking for survival horror in space when you're looking at Alien, the role-playing game. Whereas Traveler is any sort of the kind of science fiction you want to play. You could convert, or I guess I should say you could port over things like Star Trek pretty easily to Traveler. Not to say that if you're interested in Star Trek, you shouldn't be looking at Modiphius Entertainment Star Trek Adventures. But as far as science fiction, if you want to do Battlestar Galactica, you could do Battlestar Galactica with Traveler. Now, is it going to be super simple to create all that stuff? No. I think the big selling point for Traveler, and I did share a video quite a while ago, this is a few years back, why you should play Traveler. And it discussed the approach Traveler has. As long as you don't start getting into the, oh, well, what did it cost us to pay for the fuel to get here? And okay, so we're going to buy some cargo and then we're going to end up selling it at this planet. All the economics, if you don't want to necessarily get snowed under by it, then Traveler itself is not a very difficult RPG to grasp. I mean, you're essentially looking at 2 6-sided dice, rolling 2 6-sided dice, totaling them up, adding or subtracting any modifiers you've got, and then you'll have a target number that you're looking to meet or exceed. Pretty simple. Chris Lundgren asks, wasn't there already a Battlestar Galactica RPG at one time? I don't think there was. I know there was a Fantasy Flight Games board game. I know there's the PC game that is no longer for sale. I think it was last week that they lost the license to continue selling it. Kevin R. Smith points out it's mostly crunchy in terms of skills. Character creation's involved, but it's its own fun little game. Yeah, one of the cool things, and I'm sure Kevin's going to back me up on this, with character creation for Traveler, you don't need to come up with backstories. When you're done with your character creation for Traveler, it's like, all right, I've got backstory right here from my careers that I've got. W. Forge says Margaret Weiss put out a Battlestar Galactica RPG. Probably the reason why I wasn't familiar with it. Most of the games that came out from Margaret Weiss Productions kind of flew under a lot of people's radars, except for, was it the Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Did they do that one? So yes, Chris Leonard says there was an officially licensed RPG for Battlestar Galactica based on the 2003 to 2009 show. Yeah, I assume that would be it. I couldn't imagine them trying to put one together based on the original 1970s show. Oh, yeah, it's our RPG is based upon Galactica in 1980. Hey, we've sold 4 copies already. Eden Studios did the Buffy the Vampire Slayer RPG. Thank you, W. Forge. Somebody else has popped it. Oh, Wallona's Cave is with us, as is Jeff Witty Art, saying hello from cold South Korea. Yeah, it's chillier here too. Although I guess tomorrow we're going to be in the high 50s. I'm not complaining about that, seeing it's the end of November. And yes, I agree. Go Bears this weekend. All right, so we are getting into the weapons and screens. So as far as like building your starship, this is where we start getting into some complexities. Now, as someone who sat there building Car Wars cars left and right all evening long back in the day, this probably wouldn't be, too big of a deal for myself. But for other people, they may not necessarily want to get into this deep into the weeds as far as the workings of spacecraft. But I love the fact that we've got all this content basically giving you a breakdown of, actually, it looks like these are essentially almost like modules that you would be fitting into the ship. And of course, your various different systems here too. So Kevin King says this is so much easier on the eyes than the Traveler books they have. I say it all the time. I really do like Mongoose Traveler 2E. We want to be official with that. I got to say, I wonder what we'll be calling it when they decide they're going to do another edition down the line. I think they'll probably just go with Traveler. Because it's kind of funny because I know a lot of people refer to this as Mongoose Traveler, and it is the second edition of Traveler from Mongoose. So here we have building space stations. So we would create a hull, install drives, install power plant, install fuel tanks, install control center, install computer, install sensors, install weapons, install optional systems, determine the crew, install accommodations, allocate cargo space, and then finalize the design. The Battleship Galactica Starship Battles game by Ares Games is highly regarded for its thematic feel. I reviewed that, so I have a review video for that. I liked it. I thought the miniatures were pretty well done. As far as the thematic feel, yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, it didn't like necessarily blow me away. It could have been just about any like spaceship or, you know, fighter craft sort of game. But yeah, it was kind of cool. I will say, if I remember correctly, I think the momentum was kind of tricky for some people to figure out with the rules. Because, of course, you know, you're in space, zero gravity. All right, so we've got customizing ships. By adjusting tech levels, many ship components can be upgraded or downgraded depending on the needs and capabilities desired by the ship's designer. Superior components provide enhanced performance, while lesser components may be installed to reduce costs, or in the case of a lower tech world, to provide prototype technology before it might otherwise be available. So we've got information about altering tech levels, jump drive advantages and disadvantages, maneuver drive advantages and disadvantages, as well as reactor drives, power plants, weapons and screens. Now we get into the ship's computer, so we're going to see a lot of different computer systems here, such as anti-hijack, battle network, electronic warfare, point defense, virtual gunner, our sensors. Then we've got exotic technology, which I think is going to be a chapter that is going to introduce some, I guess we'll say optional aspects from other science fiction IPs, probably. Hop drives, hyperdrives, folding space. We've got some new weapons, new screens, psionic technology. We've got our crew roles. One of the nice aspects of Traveler is when you get into, space combat, especially if you're looking at it's the player character's ship against, some enemies. Every player, their character is going to have some sort of a role to the proceedings. So it isn't as if, it's only these two players who get to roll dice and get to do cool stuff. Everybody gets to take part in making combat a success. Talking about gunners, Marines and ship troops, medics. Of course, we had the pilot right here, talking about the pilot. Sensor operator. It's actually pretty important. Captain, of course. Now we've got creating deck plans. There we go. I was going to say, where'd the fighters go? So showing us light fighters, heavy fighters, a torpedo boat, military gig, fleet battles. Most space combat encounters involve just a handful of ships. For small battles like these, the space combat rules presented in the Traveler Core Rulebook will suffice. No matter the tonnage of the ships involved, whether they be a group of adventure-class ships or capital ships in the multi-100,000-ton range. However, actions featuring a dozen or more ships can be cumbersome to resolve. The rules presented here provide an alternative method to determine the outcome of such battles. So we're going to have fleet crews. I'll take a guess. It's going to be the quality of the crew. Oh, here we've got some different sheets. Got our fighter squadron sheet. That's pretty cool. A fleet sheet. Fleet evaluation. And then we've got a section here incorporating the Naval Campaign Sourcebook. Something else about Traveler is the fact that they've got loads and loads of published adventures. And funny enough, even the old GDW adventures can be converted over to Mongoose Traveler. Now, it takes a little bit of work, but not a ton, because essentially the core mechanics of Traveler really haven't changed. So since the beginning, it's still that, rolling the 2 6-sided dice. So we've got our fleet evaluation. Oh, anyway, I was going to say, one of the cool things is that they've got different adventure campaigns. They are multiple adventures. Some are box sets as well. And they can take you in the kind of direction you want to go with your player characters. So we've got campaigns that are all about uncharted space and going and checking out planets and discovering new life forms. You've got that. You've got the naval campaign where all the player characters are naval. I don't know if they're all officers, but I know that they're all actually part of the Imperial Navy. Then we've got another one where it's the Pirates of Drinax, where the player characters end up becoming pirates. Now, they could be more privateer sort of pirates, or they could be more villainous pirates. Player characters have their own options available to them. We've got the mercenaries. And of course, most of those campaigns also have additional source material, supplements for you to pick up to really flesh things out. So Kevin R. Smith says, yeah, sounds about right. It's been 2d6 in every edition. It's just a matter of whether it's roll over or roll under. Chris Leonard says they've seen pictures of people using full thrust for space combat using miniatures for any RPG in space, even Battlestar Galactica. Does Traveler have miniature combat rules? Not this edition. I think way back in the day, there were, back in the GDW days. All right, now we've got our chapter on boarding actions. The weapons of choice for a boarding action are blades and handguns. For a handgun, most boarding parties prefer snub pistols or laser pistols for two reasons. Both have the 0G trait, indicating that they have no recoil, and neither do extensive damage to ship systems when shots are missed. Something else I think is kind of cool with Traveler is you can certainly have a viable player character who uses melee weapons like a sword. And I don't mean a power sword or a chain sword. I just mean a sword. So here we've got our spacecraft of the Third Imperium. So this is where we're going to get into all of the pre-made ships. W4 asks, doesn't Mongoose now do slip cases instead of box sets? That is very possible. I got a box set years and years ago from Mongoose. In fact, it was the starter set, which was prior to the update to Traveler, at least to the core rulebook. So taking a peek at some of these, we're going to have the ultralight fighter. And then we also had a chapter early on. And it was talking about how you can actually kind of customize these ships too. Jeff Woody Art says, hey, maybe a saber made of light. Oh, come on. Don't be ridiculous, Jeff. Come on. Military gigs. There's a launch. Something else I like about Traveler, and this really hasn't changed much over the years either, is the ship style. Now, granted, they're not necessarily as realistic looking as, say, the Expanse, where, you know, ships in the Expanse are like, really? Where's the front? Is that the front or the back? But still, I dig these because they don't necessarily all look alike, but they do share similar aspects to their designs that I think is cool. Here we go, the good old Type S Scout. This is a famous Traveler ship. It's usually one of the first ships, if not the first ship that player characters usually get their hands on. Something else that's kind of cool in your character creation, depending on what careers that you've invested in for your player character, you might own a share of a ship. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you own the ship outright. You share that ship with others. So very cool. Laconic Lane is popping on in to chat with us. So might be a first-time visit. So if it is, welcome aboard. Said they're behind on the stream, but don't give credence to random haters. I try not to. It's just, you know, it comes in waves. And I'll be like, oh, really? Come on, man. So it's like, you know, weird, just real bitchy comments. Just, you know, just really asshole-ish comments. And then on top of that, the nonsense that seems to be going on with YouTube. And it's like, oh, brother. Jeff Woody Art says, I like that concept of owning a share of the ship. So as an example, you could have a player character who has a share of a ship, but it's not the ship they use. So, which would mean they would earn money off of that other ship. So here we've got the Corsair. That's the Corsair here. So a mercenary cruiser. So now we start getting into some of the more unique looking ships here. Here's the liner. You'll also notice the larger these ships get. That seems to look a little bit like, I don't know, a Starfleet Battles ship sheet, doesn't it? Those of you out there familiar with Starfleet Battles. All right, Kevin King's rocking out. Good to see you, Kevin. Hopefully we catch you tomorrow night as well. Artwork throughout is really cool. I also noticed that every single one of these is receiving an image of the ship. There's a merchant cruiser. That looks, I wonder if there's any sort of kind of inspiration from like galleons, sailing ships. So just to me, the big bulkiness of it kind of makes me feel like, like the Spanish Main, sailing on the Spanish Main. So the Mora. What is this? This is a cargo carrier. Looks like this is pretty large. Destroyers, fleet escort. See, now this looks like something that would be straight out of the Expanse. Pretty much looks like that. Chris Lundgren says, one role-playing game that's science fiction that doesn't get enough conversation is Time of War. I have no idea what that is. Chris Lundgren asks, what does a starter set cost for Traveler? The reality is, not like you would think for a starter set. Now, I don't know if they've changed it. I don't even know if they still sell one, to be honest. I would think they would. But the starter set actually included the core rule book divided into 2 books. So it wasn't like most starter sets where it's like, oh, look, here's some rules to get you started. No character creation, though. It was legitimately the core rule book, except rather than 1 volume, it was 2 softcover books. It also had, I think it had an adventure campaign in it, if I remember correctly. Oh, W. Ford says Time of War is Battletech. I don't know. I have nothing against Battletech. It's just I don't think many people are that into it anymore. I think Battletech lost a lot of its mojo to Warhammer 40K years ago. I think the folks over at Catalyst Game Labs kind of fumbled the ball on Battletech. They've fumbled the ball on other game systems too. Once again, as I point out, I don't have anything against the folks at Catalyst Game Labs, but there are some game companies out there that it seems every time you turn around, it's sort of like, really? That's the decision you're going in? The Strike Cruiser, this looks like a big egg. Oh, it's a planetoid monitor. Well, look at that. So it looks like a planetoid. It's like a big asteroid. All right, the Strike Cruiser. There we go. It's like a guitar. Oh my God, it's the Hard Rock Hotel attacking us. Hydrian Battle Rider. This looks cool. I like that. So, of course, we get a breakdown. We get a legend. Keyed areas here. So, as an example, the Hadrian has bonded super dense armor, 30 radiation shielding. It's 50,000 tons standard, reinforced. It's a military ship. Bridge has holographic controls. And then, of course, it's giving us the tonnage. It's also giving us the cost. A lot of weapons here. Mason spinal mount, large particle beam bays, 2. Medium repulsor bays, 6. Medium missile bays, 50. Medium railgun bays, 25. 100 triple turrets. with beam lasers and sand casters. Something else that's kind of interesting about Traveler is like their space combat. There are aspects to it that you will not see in other science fiction role-playing games. Like, as an example, a sandcaster, it's almost like chafe, like with a fighter. But the sandcaster is used to diffuse lasers. It's like, oh, okay. So it actually kicks out sand. Pretty wild. So we also have point defense laser batteries type 3, 9 of those. All right. So Chris Lundgren has been paid to give everybody a rundown of the Battletech role-playing game. So. All right. Heavy cruiser. This is the Atlantic class. Like I said, the majority of the page space is devoted to these created ships. So this is a fleet carrier. Oh, it's pretty unique there. Then we have a freighter. We've got a dreadnought. Aren't dreadnoughts like, wouldn't they be the older capital ships in Traveler? So it says the Kokorak dreadnought is one of the more common classes of capital ships in service in the Spinward Marshes. A total of 4 Batrons of this type serve on permanent station with harbor assignments at Relanor, Regina, Jewel, and Mora. Generally, one squadron of Kokoraks is dispersed into independent ships with ancillary escorts on patrol. The ships combine training operations with routine patrols and reaction operations. It is a preferred ship for flagship operations, which because of its admiral's quarters. There you go. They are one of the older classes of dreadnoughts in Imperial service and now being phased out of service. Within the last decade, several ships have been disposed of to other services, such as the Scouts, and to other governments, including sector navies and client states in the Spinward border regions of the Imperium. Nice. So that's how we're going to wrap up looking at dreadnoughts. It's a pretty odd looking ship there. And that is a dreadnought. It's the Tigress class. All right. And then we're going to wrap up with an index. So that is a peek inside Traveler Highguard Update 2022 from Mongoose Publishing. Once again, this book has been out for a few years. The 288-page hardcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $59.99. You can grab just the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $30. All right, and I will have a review of Highguard in the not too distant future. Jeff Woodyart said vacuum cleaner ship. Actually, to me, it looked more like a helmet. I don't know for what reason when I saw that, and I know it's not the same shape, but the robot that John Candy did the voice for in Heavy Metal, and I know he had the big ears and stuff like it was just the face. When I saw that ship, that's what immediately popped into my head. Like, okay. Kind of weird how that works. All right. So that is it for tonight's show. Tomorrow, you voted. You decided we are going to take a look at Alien, the role-playing game, Evolved Edition, Rapture Protocol from Free League Publishing. We'll also take a peek at the Game Master screen and the Alien Miniatures set, which has also arrived on the scene. So it is kind of an alien or at least a science fiction week here at the Dispatch. All right, if you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings, right here on YouTube. It also lets you know when I share other videos, such as my recent first look at the Riverbank role-playing game. I'm going to move a little further over. From my friends over at Cobalt Press. If you're watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, tip of the cap to you. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as I'm sharing the news or I'm flipping through an RPG book or unboxing a board game. But then again, not everybody out there gets an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. I really do appreciate it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your afternoon, evening, morning, even, wherever you are. And of course, I will be back tomorrow night. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. And as always, I certainly hope each and every one of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.